Good evening, my friends. This is Dr. Hope speaking to you tonight from the same small office in Nashville where I've hung my stethoscope for the last 48 years. At 86, I still see patients most every day because I truly believe the good Lord isn't finished with me yet. And neither are the thousands of wonderful seniors I've been privileged to care for across Tennessee, Texas, and beyond. Tonight, I have to share something that still keeps me awake some nights. After all these decades, I finally realized that one of the simplest things on your kitchen table, something most of us use 3 times a day without a second thought, can either quietly protect your heart and your memory or slowly steal the best years you have left. I'm talking about salt. Not how much, but which kind. Let me tell you about Evelyn, a 74-year-old widow I met last spring in Knoxville. Evelyn had always been the strong one, raising 4 kids, running the church supper, canning vegetables every summer. But when she came to see me, her ankles were so swollen she had to cut the sides of her shoes just to get them on. Her blood pressure was 172/102, and she told me with tears in her eyes, "Dr. Hope, I'm scared I'm not going to be around to watch my youngest granddaughter graduate." She felt tired all the time, short of breath climbing the 3 steps to her porch, and she honestly believed this was just what getting older meant. When I asked her to bring in every salt container in her house, she came back with 7 regular table salt, garlic salt, seasoned salt, kosher salt, onion salt, pickling salt for her famous bread and butter pickles, and even a little shaker of low-sodium salt that still had the same refined base. Every single one was pure sodium chloride stripped of the minerals her aging body desperately needed, and loaded with things her kidneys could no longer clear. We made some gentle changes, nothing drastic, just the right salts, and a few easy habits I'm going to walk you through tonight. 10 weeks later, Evelyn walked into my office wearing brand new lace-up shoes, blood pressure 134/80, and handed me an invitation to that granddaughter's graduation next June. She hugged me and whispered, "I thought I was done, but I feel like I've been given extra innings. That's the miracle waiting for you, too." In the next half hour together, I'm going to show you exactly why salt becomes so much more dangerous after 60. The 4 common salts that are quietly hurting millions of American seniors right now, including one sitting in 9 out of 10 kitchens across this country. The 4 healing salts your body is actually craving, and the gentle daily habits that make everything work even better. Stay with me all the way to the end, because the #1 healing salt almost no one here in the States is using yet can calm bloating, ease digestion, and help so many of my ladies feel steady and strong again. Before we begin, would you do me a quick favor? Look at the salt you use most often and tell me its name in the comments below. I read every single one, and I answer as many as I can personally. And if you're watching this with someone you love whose legs swell or whose pressure just won't behave, send them this video tonight. They'll thank you for it. All right, my friend, let's get started. Good evening again. My friend, come on in, pull up a chair, and let me talk to you like we're sitting together on the porch with a glass of sweet tea. Before I show you the 4 salts I want out of your kitchen today, and the 4 I want in their place, I need you to understand something I wish every one of my patients had known 30 years earlier. After the age of 60, salt stops being just seasoning. For an aging body, the wrong salt starts acting more like a slow drip of medicine you never meant to take. Let me explain it the way I explain it to folks in my exam room, plain and simple. The first thing that changes is your kidneys. When we're young, those 2 little beans in your back work like a high-speed filter, grabbing extra sodium and sending it out with the next bathroom trip. But starting around 60, and especially after 70. That filter slows down. Studies out of Johns Hopkins and the National Institute on Aging show most of us lose 20 to 40% of our filtering power, sometimes more if we've had high blood pressure or diabetes along the way. That means the sodium you eat today hangs around in your bloodstream longer than it used to, sometimes hours longer, pushing against your artery walls, pulling water out of your cells, and leaving you with puffy ankles, tight wedding rings, and a blood pressure reading that climbs even when you swear you've been good. The second change is in the arteries themselves. When you and I were 40, our arteries were soft and stretchy, like a good garden hose. A little extra sodium would raise the pressure. The hose would stretch a bit, and everything settled back down. But with every passing year, those arteries pick up tiny calcium deposits and lose some of their elasticity. They turn more like the old plastic hose that's been in the sun too long, stiff and crackly. The same amount of sodium now hits a stiff pipe, and the pressure shoots up fast and stays up. That's why a blood pressure medicine that worked beautifully at 55 sometimes stops being enough at 75. It isn't that the pill quit. It's that the playing field changed. The third change snakes up on almost everybody. Your taste buds start to retire. After 60, most folks lose 10 to 30% of the little taste sensors on their tongue. Food that used to sing now just whispers. So what do we do without even thinking? We reach for the salt shaker, because salt is the one flavor that still comes through loud and clear. I can't tell you how many patients have looked me in the eye and said, "Dr. Hope, I barely salt anything," while I watch them give the shaker 4 or 5 extra shakes over their scrambled eggs. They honestly don't realize they're doing it, because the food still tastes bland to them. Now here's the part that shocks almost everyone. When I tell them 70% of the sodium the average American eats doesn't come from the shaker at all. It's hiding in the foods we love and trust. A slice of deli ham can have 500 milligrams. A cup of canned soup, even the healthy kind, can top 1,000. A frozen dinner that says heart healthy on the box can still pack 800 to 1,200 milligrams, half a day's worth in one meal. Even a couple slices of ordinary sandwich bread can slip in 300 or 400 milligrams before you ever add lunch meat or cheese. Restaurant meals, many of them top 2,000 milligrams before you touch the salt shaker on the table. That's exactly what happened to Harold, the rancher I told you about earlier. Harold was convinced he didn't use much salt. "I just put a little on my steak and eggs," he told me. But when we added up the hidden sodium from his morning sausage biscuit, his lunch bologna sandwich, and the canned ranch-style beans he loved with supper, he was getting close to 4,000 milligrams a day, sometimes more. His kidneys couldn't keep up. His stiff arteries were taking a pounding, and his legs were paying the price. I see this same story play out week after week. One lady thought her swelling was from diabetes. Another gentleman was sure his afternoon dizziness was low blood sugar. A sweet widow in my church blamed her fatigue on grief after losing her husband. In every case, when we cleaned up the hidden sodium and switched to the right kind of salt, the swelling went down, the energy came back, and the blood pressure numbers started behaving again. So please hear me on this after 60. It's not just how much salt you use, it's what kind of salt and where the rest of it is coming from. Your body isn't being dramatic. It's simply asking for a little more kindness than it needed 20 years ago. And that brings us to the 4 everyday salts I want you to stop using today, starting with the ones that look perfectly innocent sitting on grocery shelves all across America. You're not going to believe how many kitchens I walk into where every single one of these is waiting on the counter right now. Let's talk about them one by one, and I'll show you exactly why they're too hard on an aging body. and what gentle healing replacements your heart and kidneys will thank you for. Stay with me. The first one is probably in your spice cabinet this very minute. All right, my friend. Let's open that kitchen cabinet together right now, the one above the stove or beside the spice rack, and take a good, honest look. These next 4 salts are the ones I gently take out of every single patient's hand on their very first visit with me. I don't scold anybody. I just explain why their heart and kidneys can't handle them anymore. And then we make the swap together. By the time we're finished, most folks feel lighter just knowing they're giving their body a break it's been begging for. Starting with number 4. Those colorful little jars of flavored seasoning salts, garlic salt, onion salt, seasoned salt. The barbecue rubs your son-in-law brings home from the grill store. They smell wonderful, and Lord knows they make supper taste like a restaurant. But here's what breaks my heart. Most of them are regular refined salt dressed up with artificial flavorings and often a good dose of MSG or similar compounds. After 65, those additives can set off headaches, blood pressure jumps, and extra fluid that settles right in the ankles and fingers. I'll never forget Margaret, 72 years young, who came in holding her temples every afternoon at 3 o'clock like clockwork. She had been shaking Lori's seasoned salt on everything for 40 years because plain salt is boring. 10 days after we switched her to fresh rosemary, basil, and a pinch of real mineral salt, she called me laughing, said she hadn't had a single headache, and her wedding ring spun loose on her finger again. 10 days. That's all it took to give her afternoons back. Number 3 is one that sneaks by because it sounds fancy, and pure refined kosher salt. You see those big blue boxes in every grocery store and on every cooking show. Chefs love the way the big flakes stick to food. The problem is, those big flakes trick us because they're coarse. We think we're using less, but when you measure by weight, you're actually getting more sodium per teaspoon than the fine table salt. And just like regular table salt, kosher salt has had every natural mineral scrubbed out of it in the factory. No magnesium, no potassium, nothing to balance the sodium load on your aging kidneys and arteries. I've had patients bring me their beautiful glass kosher salt cellars, proud as can be. And I have to sit them down and show them why their heart is working overtime for no good reason. Restaurants pour it on by the pound because it's cheap. Your body pays the bill later. Number 2 might surprise you if you love old-fashioned cooking, pickling salt and curing salts. These are the pure white, ultra-fine salts made to dissolve instantly in brine. They're in homemade dill pickles, summer sausage, jerky, corned beef, and sauerkraut, all those wonderful traditions our mamas taught us. The trouble is, that instant dissolve feature sends sodium into the bloodstream like a flash flood. For kidneys that are already running on 60 or 70% power, that rush can throw the heart rhythm off and leave legs swollen for days. Frank, 78, used to make the best corned beef and cabbage in Williamson County every St. Patrick's Day. One year he landed in the ER with atrial fibrillation so bad they had to shock his heart back into rhythm. We didn't take his tradition away. We just changed the salt he used for the brine and added a little extra potassium from celery and onion. Last March he sent me a picture of his green plate and a note that said, "Still ticking, Doc, and still delicious. Same recipe, gentler salt, happy heart." And now the number 1 salt I want every single one of you to walk into your kitchen and throw away tonight. No ceremony. Just out with the trash, ordinary iodized table salt. The familiar round container with the little girl holding the umbrella, or the blue box most of us grew up with. I know. It's been on the table since 1955, and it says right on it that it has iodine for your thyroid. But here's the truth. I learned the hard way watching patient after patient struggle with brain fog and stubborn blood pressure. The iodine they add is a synthetic form that starts evaporating the minute the container is opened. By the time that box has sat in your cupboard 6 months, most of the iodine is gone anyway. What's left is pure refined sodium chloride plus aluminum-based anti-caking agents to keep it flowing nicely. Study after study, including work out of the University of Texas and the Cleveland Clinic, has linked long-term aluminum exposure to inflammation in the brain and higher risk of cognitive trouble down the road. I've sat with too many sweet ladies who couldn't remember their granddaughter's name, only to watch that fog start lifting a few months after we made this one change. It's not dramatic, it's just kind. Your brain has carried you this far. It deserves salt that doesn't add extra burden. So there they are. 4 everyday salts that look perfectly harmless but ask far too much of an older heart, kidneys, and mind. If you're feeling a little emotional right now, that's all right. I feel it too every time I help someone let go of something they've trusted for decades. But here's the beautiful part we're heading to next. There are 4 healing salts: gentle, mineral-rich, flavor-packed salts that your body will welcome like an old friend. They're easy to find, not expensive, and they make food taste even better while they quietly protect everything you hold dear. Stay right here with me. The first one is the smoky one that makes grilled zucchini taste like summer. And it's going to make you smile the minute you try it. All right, my dear friend. Now we get to the part that makes my heart sing. The part where we talk about the 4 healing salts that don't just season your food, but actually nourish your body. Like a warm hug from the inside out. These are the ones I bring into every patient's kitchen after we've tossed out those harmful ones we talked about. They're not hard to find. They won't break the bank. And they make every bite taste better while quietly protecting your heart, your kidneys, your bones, and even your spirit. Let's meet them one by one. And I'll share a story for each to show you just how much difference a little pinch can make. Starting with number 4, naturally smoked sea salt. The kind that's been kissed by real hardwood smoke. Not that fake liquid smoke nonsense you sometimes see. This is sea salt that's been slowly smoked over oak or hickory, so it's packed with trace minerals like magnesium, calcium, and potassium that your body needs to balance sodium naturally. The flavor is so rich and deep that a tiny sprinkle goes a long way, half as much as you'd use with regular salt, which means less sodium overall without sacrificing taste. I love it on grilled vegetables or a baked sweet potato. It's like bringing the campfire to your kitchen table. One of my patients, Clara, a 69-year-old retired librarian from Chattanooga, used to drown her roasted zucchini in garlic salt because she said it needed something. Her blood pressure was creeping up, and her fingers were too swollen to wear her favorite turquoise ring. We swapped that garlic salt for a jar of naturally smoked sea salt and told her to use it as a finishing salt. Just a pinch after cooking to keep the minerals intact. 3 weeks later, Clara walked in wearing that ring, her blood pressure down 10 points, and a smile that lit up the room. She said, "Dr. Hope, my zucchini tastes like a steak now, and I'm using half the salt." That's the magic of a salt that works with your body, not against it. Number 3 is my personal favorite, the one sitting on my own kitchen table right now, iodized Himalayan pink salt, with stable, natural source iodine. This beautiful pink salt, mined from ancient seabeds in Pakistan, comes with over 70 trace minerals, magnesium, potassium, even a touch of iron that help your heart and kidneys handle sodium without the shock. The coarse texture means it dissolves slowly, giving your kidneys a gentler ride, and the natural iodine supports your thyroid, which so many of us struggle with after 60, especially my ladies. I had a patient named Louise, 76, who came to me exhausted, her hair thinning, and her hands always cold, classic signs of a sluggish thyroid. She'd been using regular table salt her whole life, thinking the iodine in it was enough. We switched her to iodized Himalayan salt, sprinkled lightly on her meals, and added a few thyroid-friendly foods like seaweed snacks. 4 months later, Louise told me she felt 20 years younger. Her energy was back, and her hairdresser noticed new growth at her temples. She keeps a little grinder of this pink salt on her dining table now, and every time I see her, she winks and says, "That's my pink medicine." Doc, it's not just salt, it's a gift to your whole body. Coming in at number 2 is a salt you don't eat, but soak in Epsom salt, pure magnesium sulfate. I tell my patients it's like a spa day for the price of a coffee. 2 cups in a warm bath 3 times a week, or a half cup in a foot soak. Lets magnesium slip through your skin, easing stiff joints, calming restless legs, and helping you sleep like you did in your 50s. Most seniors don't get enough magnesium because our digestion slows with age, and pills can upset the stomach. Epsom salt bypasses all that. My patient George, a 71-year-old retired mechanic, used to wake up 4 times a night with leg cramps that left him hobbling. He was skeptical when I suggested an Epsom salt bath, said it sounded like something his grandma would do. But after one soak, 20 minutes in warm water with 2 cups of Epsom salt and a drop of lavender oil, he slept through the night for the first time in years. Now he soaks every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. And he tells everybody at the VFW it's his poor man's spa. His leg cramps are gone, and he's back to walking his dog a mile every morning. And now, the #1 healing salt that most American seniors have never even heard of. But the one I wish I could put in every kitchen from Memphis to Maine Indian black salt, or Kala Namak. This volcanic salt from South Asia has a unique sulfur compound that gives it a slightly eggy smell. But don't let that scare you, it's a powerhouse. It stimulates digestive enzymes that naturally weaken after 60, cuts bloating, and helps your body absorb iron, which is a game changer for so many of my ladies fighting anemia. Just a tiny pinch on sliced apples or mixed into a glass of warm water with a squeeze of lemon in the morning can make you feel lighter and steadier all day. I met a patient named Ruth, 68, who ran a small bakery in Franklin. She was so bloated after lunch she'd have to loosen her apron, and her iron levels were so low her doctor was pushing supplements that upset her stomach. We started her on a 1/4 teaspoon of Kala Namak in warm water before breakfast, and within 2 weeks, her bloating was gone, her energy was up, and her latest blood test showed her iron climbing without a single pill. She keeps a little jar of black salt behind her counter now, calls it her secret ingredient for feeling good. These 4 salts aren't just about flavor, they're about giving your body the tools it needs to thrive, not just survive, in these precious years. But even the best salts work better when you pair them with a few gentle habits to help your body process sodium like it did when you were younger. That's what we're diving into next: 3 simple daily habits that take less than 15 minutes total but can make your heart sing, your legs feel lighter, and your blood pressure finally play nice. Stay with me. You're going to love how easy these are to slip into your day. My friend, once we've brought the good salts home and said goodbye to the ones that were wearing us down, the next question I always get is Dr. Hope, is that really all I have to do? And my answer is always the same. The salts are the foundation, but 3 little daily habits are the gentle wind that carries everything along so much easier. They don't cost a penny. They don't hurt. and they fit into even the busiest day. I've watched them take people off extra blood pressure pills, shrink swollen legs, and bring back the kind of steady energy most folks thought was gone forever. Let me tell you about the first one, hydration cycling. You've probably heard drink 8 glasses a day so many times it's gone in one ear and out the other. But gulping down a big glass all at once can actually overwhelm older kidneys and make you run to the bathroom every 20 minutes. Instead, we do it the way nature intended, small and steady. I ask my patients to keep a little 4 or 6 ounce glass by their favorite chair and sip it every 90 minutes or so, from the time they get up until about 6 o'clock at night. That's it. No forcing, no keeping count. Just gentle sips like a hummingbird at a feeder. Steady, gentle water helps your kidneys rinse sodium out smoothly instead of in frantic bursts. Within a week or two, most folks notice their rings slide easier. Their ankles look like ankles again, and that tight feeling around the calves fades away. Dorothy, 77, used to wake up 3 or 4 times a night because her legs felt like water balloons. After 2 weeks of sipping instead of gulping, she slept 6 straight hours for the first time in years and told me, "I feel like somebody let the air out of me," in the nicest possible way. The second habit is my absolute favorite prescription in the whole world, and it doesn't come from a pharmacy a 10 to 12-minute walk after supper. I don't care if it's around the block, up and down the driveway, or marching in place in the living room while you watch the evening news. That short, gentle stroll is pure gold. It lowers blood sugar so insulin doesn't drive sodium into your cells. It coaxes fluid back into the bloodstream where kidneys can handle it, and it nudges blood pressure down 10, 15, sometimes 20 points for hours afterward. I've had patients whose doctors were ready to add a second pill look at their home readings a month later and say, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Leonard, 82, a retired mechanic who swore he wasn't a walker, started shuffling from his recliner to the mailbox and back after supper. 6 weeks later, he was doing 2 laps around the cul-de-sac, waving at neighbors like the mayor. And his daughter called me crying happy tears because her daddy's legs weren't purple and tight anymore. 10 quiet minutes. That's all it asks, and it gives back years. The third habit is the one I do right alongside my patients. Sometimes sitting together in the exam room when their numbers are high and their worry is higher, the 4-2-4 breath. You breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it gently for 2 seconds, then let it out through your mouth for 4 seconds. Soft and easy like you're cooling a spoonful of soup. Do 5 of those in a row whenever you feel stressed, or when the news gets you worked up, or when the kids call with one more problem. Here's why it matters so much when we're anxious or upset. The body releases stress hormones that tell your kidneys, hold on to every drop of sodium and water. We might need it to run from danger. Of course, there's no lion chasing us, but the body doesn't know that. Those 5 gentle breaths calm the nervous system, lower the stress hormones, and quietly tell your kidneys, "It's safe to let go now." I taught it to Barbara, 75, whose blood pressure would shoot up every time she worried about her grandson in the service. She started doing her 4-2-4 breaths the moment worry crept in, and within 3 weeks, her average readings dropped from 160 over 98 to 138 over 82. She keeps a little sticky note on her fridge that just says 4-2-4 and smiles every time she sees it. These 3 habits, sipping water like a hummingbird, strolling after supper, and breathing like you have all the time in the world, are the quiet teammates that turn good salts into great medicine. You won't feel dramatic changes overnight, but you will feel lighter, steadier, and calmer. and your body will thank you in ways your doctor's numbers will show loud and clear. And speaking of what we put on our plates alongside these beautiful salts, let's talk next about the everyday American foods that naturally balance sodium and protect your kidneys like loyal old friends. A few extra bites of the right things can do more for blood pressure than another pill ever could, and they taste wonderful doing it. Stay right here with me. The first one is probably growing in your backyard or sitting in your crisper drawer right now. Come sit with me at the kitchen table now, because this is the part where supper starts tasting like celebration instead of medicine. Once we've got the right salts and those 3 gentle habits in place, the easiest way to make everything work even better is to invite a few old-fashioned American foods to the party every single day. These aren't exotic superfoods you have to order from California. They're the same things your mother and grandmother kept on the shelf. And they quietly balance sodium, protect your kidneys, and keep blood pressure behaving like it did when you were 50. Let's start with the potassium heroes, because potassium is sodium's best friend and natural brake pedal. When you give your body plenty of potassium, it tells the kidneys, go ahead and let some of that extra sodium slip away. My favorites are the ones you can find in any grocery store in America. Half an avocado a day has become my quiet prescription for hundreds of patients. Slice it on toast. Scoop it straight from the skin with a spoon and a sprinkle of smoked sea salt. Or mash it with a little lemon for the creamiest guacamole you ever tasted. Dorothy, the sweet lady I told you about earlier, who used to swell so badly she couldn't get her shoes on, started eating half an avocado every morning on a piece of whole grain toast. 3 months later, her doctor looked at her numbers, shook his head in happy disbelief, and cut her blood pressure pill in half. She still eats her avocado every single day and calls it her green miracle. Sweet potatoes are another potassium powerhouse, and Lord knows we love them in the South. Bake one in the oven or even the microwave. Split it open. Add a pinch of Himalayan salt and a pat of real butter. 1 medium sweet potato gives you almost as much potassium as a banana and tastes like dessert. Spinach is so easy. Toss a big handful into your scrambled eggs, wilt it into soup, or just eat it raw in a salad. White beans, Great Northern, navy, or cannellini go into soup. Get mashed into a dip, or simply heated with a little garlic and olive oil. And if you like a cool drink in the afternoon, a glass of plain unsweetened coconut water is pure liquid potassium with a tropical whisper. Next come the magnesium stars, because magnesium relaxes blood vessels the way a good back rub relaxes your shoulders. A small handful of almonds in the afternoon, a bowl of oatmeal in the morning with a spoon of natural peanut butter stirred in, or a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds on your salad, and you've covered your magnesium for the day. I keep a little jar of dry roasted almonds on my desk. When the 3 o'clock slump hits, 5 or 6 almonds and a sip of water wake me right up without a bit of coffee. And finally, the kidney-loving antioxidants that sweep up the little bits of daily wear and tear blueberries, cranberries, and apples eaten with the skin on. I tell folks to keep a bag of frozen blueberries in the freezer, throw a handful into oatmeal, yogurt, or just eat them cold like candy. Fresh or frozen cranberries cooked down with a little orange peel and a touch of honey make the prettiest relish you ever saw. And apples are as American as the 4th of July. 1 a day, skin and all, while they're in season, or slice one up when they're not. These foods aren't extra credit. They're the main course of gentle healing. When you sit down to supper and see a baked sweet potato, a little pile of spinach, half an avocado, and a dish of blueberries for dessert, you're not dieting. You're loving your body the way it deserves to be loved after all these years of taking care of everybody else. Now, I know what you're thinking, Dr. Hope. I still have to buy groceries. and the stores are full of sneaky sodium. You're absolutely right, and that's exactly what we're going to tackle next. How to walk through any American supermarket, read those labels like a detective, and come home with food that helps instead of hurts. I'll show you the 6 words that mean put it back. The simple rinse trick that washes away almost half the sodium from canned beans and vegetables, and the easy swaps that taste just as good, sometimes better, without making your ankles swell. Stay right here with me. You're going to feel like you have a doctor in your grocery cart. Let's grab our grocery list and walk through the store together, because once you know what to look for, shopping stops feeling like a minefield and starts feeling like you've got a secret weapon. I've taken hundreds of patients down these same aisles over the years, and by the time we reach the checkout, they're smiling because the cart is full of food that loves them back. First thing, turn every package around and read the ingredient list, not just the big number on the front that says low sodium. Food companies are clever. They know we look at the front, so they hide sodium under names most of us have never heard of. If you see any of these 6 words, gently set the item back on the shelf like you're putting a sleeping baby down. Sodium benzoate, disodium phosphate, sodium nitrate or nitrite, common in bacon and lunch meats. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, sodium alginate, or anything that starts with sodium and isn't actual salt. Those are preservatives and flavor enhancers that add up fast, and older kidneys don't clear them the way they used to. Now let's talk about the swaps I make every week. And my patients make them too. And nobody feels deprived. Deli counter instead of ham or bologna, which can run 700 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium in 3 little slices. Ask the person behind the counter for freshly sliced, low-sodium turkey breast or roast beef. Boar's Head and Dietz & Watson both make versions with around 140 milligrams per serving, and they taste just as good on a sandwich. My patient Walter used to eat 2 ham sandwiches every day for lunch. When we switched him to low-sodium turkey and added a slice of avocado, he said, "Doc, I honestly like it better, and my ankles thank me every night. Canned soup aisle, walk right past the red and white cans and head to the low-sodium bone broth or carton broth section. One popular brand has only 140 milligrams per cup instead of 900. Or do what I do, keep a couple of quarts of homemade broth in the freezer. Toss in a sweet potato, some spinach, and a handful of white beans, and you've got supper that heals instead of hurts. Skip the canned salted peanuts and grab the bags that say raw or dry roasted unsalted in the baking aisle or produce section. Same crunch, same comfort when you're watching the ball game, but your blood pressure won't know they're there. I keep a little bowl of unsalted almonds mixed with a few dried cranberries on my desk. It's my 3 o'clock treat. Cheese American cheese slices can have 300 milligrams in one slice. Switch to Swiss, mozzarella, or even a sharp cheddar that's naturally lower, around 150 to 200 per ounce. And you can still have your grilled cheese or cheese and crackers without paying for it later. And here's the 20-second trick that saves hundreds of milligrams every single week, the rinse method. Open any can of beans, peas, corn, or carrots, pour them into a strainer, and run cool water over them for 20 to 30 seconds while you gently stir with your hand. Up to 40% of the sodium washes right down the drain, and the food tastes exactly the same. I do it with every can that comes into my house. My patients who love 3-bean salad or black-eyed peas on New Year's Day can't believe how much lighter they feel after we start rinsing. One more quick story before we head to the checkout. Betty, 80 years old and proud of it, used to buy the big family-size cans of green beans because they were on sale. She'd heat them up, add a little bacon grease like her mama taught her, and her legs would swell something fierce. I showed her the rinse trick in my office with a colander I keep in the drawer just for demonstrations. She started rinsing her beans and switched to low-sodium broth for her soup. And 3 weeks later, she danced the two-step at her grandson's wedding reception without a single compression stocking. She told everybody. Dr. Hope taught me how to grocery shop like a doctor. And I told her, no, ma'am, you taught yourself how to live like a queen. See how easy this can be. Same store, same budget, just a few gentle choices, and you walk out knowing every bag in your cart is on your side. Now, to make it even simpler, I want to give you a little 7-day plan that ties everything together: the new salts, the habits, the foods, and the shopping tricks. It's only 1 week, but most folks feel so good by day 7 they never want to go back. I'll walk you through it day by day, and by the end you'll have a rhythm that feels as natural as breathing. Stay with me. We're almost home. My friend, we've walked a long way together tonight. From that first quiet heartbreak when I opened Harold's grocery bag to this moment right now. And I want you to feel proud of yourself just for staying with me. You've learned exactly why salt matters so much after 60, which 4 everyday salts have been asking too much of your beautiful heart, and the 4 healing ones that feel like a warm hug from the inside. You've got the 3 gentle habits, the plate full of potassium and magnesium friends, the simple grocery store secrets, and now all that's left is to take the first step. Here's the little 7-day plan I give every patient. It's written on a card I keep extra copies of in my desk drawer, because once folks try it, they never want to lose it. Day 1 and 2, open that cabinet. Thank the old salts for their years of service, and let them go. Bring home Himalayan pink and a jar of real smoked sea salt, plus a bundle of fresh rosemary or basil. Start sprinkling those instead, and watch how food comes alive again. Day 3 and 4 slip 1 potassium-rich food onto every plate. Half an avocado at breakfast, a sweet potato at lunch, a handful of spinach at supper. Your body will notice before the weekend. Day 5, start your gentle sipping and your 4-2-4 breaths. Keep that small glass nearby and breathe whenever the world feels heavy. Day 6. Run a warm bath or fill a basin for your feet with 2 cups of Epsom salt. Light a candle if you like. Play a hymn or your favorite old song. And just soak. Let the magnesium melt the day away. Day 7. Sunday morning. Stand at the mirror and notice. Really notice how your rings fit, how your ankles look, how rested you feel. Most folks call or text me that very day and say, Dr. Hope, I didn't know I could feel this good again. You've spent your whole life pouring love into everyone around you, your children, your grandchildren, the neighbors, the church. Now it's time to pour a little of that same love back into the heart that's carried you faithfully all these years. Choosing the right salt, adding these gentle habits, it's one of the simplest, least expensive, most powerful gifts you can give yourself, and you deserve it. If you're ready to feel lighter, steadier, and stronger for whatever beautiful years are still ahead, do 3 small things for me before you turn off the light tonight. First, look at the salt on your table right now and tell me its name in the comments. I read every single one, and I answer as many as I can with a personal note just for you. Second, if you'd like a whole video on lowering blood pressure naturally without adding more pills, type the word YES down below. I'll see it and know exactly what to record next. Third, tap that like button and subscribe with the little bell so we can keep walking this road together every week. This is Dr. Hope reminding you you're not getting older. You're getting wiser. and wiser choices lead to stronger, happier, longer years. I'm proud of you for being here tonight. Now go get some rest, and I'll see you real soon. God bless you, and good night.